Yo! All right. Like I said, hold on, here we go. There's the exposure. Hey, you guys, we're back with another episode of Six Figure Live because I've got a ton for you guys today. We're going to jump right in now and focus this episode up on the Miller's albums. This is cool. We just bought some new Miller's signature albums because between now and I've got to double check the exact dates. I think it's February 12th or 15th. But between now and like February 12th or 15th, they're doing 40% off sample albums, which is really cool. So we took advantage of that and we got a couple of them and I wanted to show you guys them. I've already opened the cardboard, but I haven't actually gotten into the albums yet. And so we've done a couple different albums. We've done a 12 by 12. We did a 10 by 10. And I'll explain it as we get into it. Look, I just went live a minute ago to kind of give you an announcement of everything that's going to be going on today. But if by chance you just turned into this episode, the entire purpose of this is to show you guys what we're up to, how we're winning, and to give you guys some direction and inspiration. And so for us, these sample albums are really, really important because we really believe in print. We want couples to see print in our own lives. We want them to be able to see and experience a wedding, not just in digital form, but when they come, they meet with us to flip through the narrative in that way. And it's a very different experience. And it's really, really awesome to see your work in print. It changes everything. And so, let's dive in. We're going to take a look at these, and we'll show you what we got. I haven't seen them yet. I think they're going to be incredible, but we'll take a look. Steven, I'm going to hand the camera to you, my man, and you can go from there.
What's up, guys?
Okay, cool. How's our light? Is the light like a little too...
It looks good.
Does it look good? Okay,
Looks
cool.
real good.
So 2 albums here. We'll start with this one. This is a 10 by 10. So we did, all of these are signature albums. This 10 by 10, I'm trying to remember what I did. I believe I did felt paper, which is a press printed paper. The felt paper I would describe as like, it's not fully deep matte and it's not luster. It's like kind of right in between. It has a really, really pleasing texture. All of their signature albums come in a linen wrap box, which is pretty nice. When you open them up, I've showed you this before, they have tips for caring for the album that help to show clients what to do. How to maintain the quality of the album. So that's pretty nice. The books then are further wrapped. We got some salt here, some nice salt and pepper. Just kidding, it's like a, what are these called?
Silica gel?
Silica gels. Keep these things from moisture. Okay, album itself. Ooh, I love this linen. Okay, so this is a new linen texture that they released. I forget what it's called. But it's so pretty. It's like the salt and pepper.
Like salt and pepper.
And then I did a gold, what's
gilding.
This? Gilding. I did a gold gilding with it. Can you see it with the light?
Mm-hmm.
It's so cool.
Good.
So gold gilding with, I have to get the exact name of this linen, but it's new. I saw it, I saw this linen at Mystic. Miller's was at Mystic seminars, and I saw they had this on display. And so I had to try it out. Okay, cool. Let's open this up. So, okay, so this is going to be thick paper. This actually looks like I did luster. Yeah, I did luster on this one, actually. So, thick pages, luster finish on the book. So something that I've gone ahead and done with this album, you guys, that you can do, if you're going to do sample albums, here, point it up at me for a second. If you're going to do sample albums, I really recommend being able to do a full wedding start to finish, right? Do that for 1 or 2 albums. But if you're on a budget, right, and if you're wanting to be able to show some work, something that we did with this album was we actually combined and we did a few different weddings that were all designed by the same planner. Does this make sense? So we have a planner in town that we just absolutely love, and so we did 3 different weddings of hers, right? So this is all one wedding, but then it transitions, and now we go into another wedding, okay, that she did. And so this is actually 3 unique weddings. This actually, I did, this is thin pages on this one. Sorry, okay, so I'm trying to remember, I buy so many Miller's. Like, you have to remember, every single couple of ours gets a Miller's album. And so the amount of Miller's albums I order, I start to lose track. So these are actually thin pages, but even saying that, they're still really thick. Like, I mean, they're still thick.
They're rigid.
Yeah, they're rigid, but they're not as thick as like the thick pages. Anyhow, so this is then the 3rd album, or the 3rd wedding that we did here. And so I introduced each of them with just some simple text. full page spread, and then it goes into the album. The reason I combined all three of these together is because one, they were all designed by the same planner, same coordinator, so I get to show off all of her details. The second is they all have a very similar feel, like they're all bright summer weddings. And so I wanted to group together essentially a sample album of like bright summer weddings done by the same planner, getting to focus on some of these details. So there you go. This is the first one. We also wanted to do, this is an 8x8, by the way, you guys. I want to do an 8x8 because we offer 3 different sizes, 8x8s, 10x10s, 12x12s. And we didn't really have an 8x8 that we were proud of showing, you know, which I get. I think you should go ahead and make sure that your biggest album is like your best album, right? Show what you want to sell. And at the same time, we didn't really have a tiny, like an 8x8 album that like we wanted to show anyone. And so this fulfills that need for us to be able to show a nice album. Feel free to let me know what people are saying.
Yeah, Miller's is here.
Oh,
He said,
cool.
hi, Ben.
Hey, Miller's, what's up?
Hey, Michelle. She said hi to me, so.
That's
Hey, girl.
awesome. Okay, so now this is the album I'm really excited about, you guys. This is a 12x12 thick page signature album with, the cool thing about this is the custom illustrated cover. So custom illustrated cover, and I did metallic pages. This is one of my favorite weddings that I've ever photographed, and so I'm excited to like see it in print. This is going to be a 50-page book. Okay, 50 pages is the maximum amount that you can do with thick spreads.
Cody Allen says, these look awesome. Can't wait to order my sample. Kevin Knowles says, what program do you use to design these layouts?
Great question. So, kind of two. I mean, really, okay, so it all starts with Fundy. Fundy is what we're using, hands down, to be able to design our albums, right? That's what we're doing all of our spread. And then when we go through the ordering process, Miller's has a program called Designer Plus. And so when it comes to ordering, a lot of times we'll go through that, especially when dealing with like the custom illustrated cover. I'll show you that here in a second. I'm really excited to see this. But Miller's is like the bread and butter. Fundy is the bread and butter for how we design these albums to make them look this good and to do it quickly. Okay. So I remember this one because I did a brown distressed leather with a black illustrated cover. Whoa. Okay, check this out. So it says Sri and Caitlin. So it's a soft brown distressed leather, and then rather than doing a full black like stamp, I actually Miller's recognizes transparency, and so this color, this type that you're seeing, I custom designed in Photoshop, and I actually did it as a PNG, so it recognized transparency. So when I uploaded it to go on the album, it would have a little bit of texture to go along with this distressed leather. Does that make sense?
I can see it. It's so good.
And the really cool thing about this is you can literally design anything. Anything. If the client has a monogram, if they have a certain design aesthetic, if they're look, Miller's knows this. They only have a couple typefaces, a couple fonts that you can do embossing with, and they're very limited with it because the way that fonts work, it can quickly, rather than stamp into leather, it can cut the leather, and so they're very restricted with what they can actually stamp into the cover of the book. And this is a way to get around that. If the client has a typeface or a font that they really like, you can actually then just custom illustrate it and put it right on top. Oh, it's so good. Okay, white on the sides. No, we didn't do any sort of gilding on the sides. Let's open it up. So this is a 12 by 12 size. Oh, good. 12 by 12 size. This is the metallic paper. The couple, like I said, is Sri and Caitlin. Now, one thing about the metallic paper is I love the glow that it has. This is the perfect wedding. This was an Indian wedding that we photographed last year. One thing about this metallic paper is that it does have to have the linen texture. The reason they do this is because the paper starts to stick together if it doesn't have it. It's something that I think I would prefer it to be completely smooth, but seeing it here in person and getting a chance to touch it, it does not bother me as much as it did in my own mind, if that makes sense. Let's go to the next one here. I love the layout. Again, so I use Fundy software to design this and to tell this. I just love the narrative here. I love the hands. I love seeing the ring, the henna.
Miller says, love, love, love that custom illustration.
Isn't it so good? And look, by the way, with the custom illustration, I didn't go crazy, right? Like you could do whatever you wanted here, but you could also just type out their names in their own typeface that you value, like your own font that you think is nice. You know what I mean? So yeah, you could do something crazy, or you could just decide, you know what, I just want this to be customized to them in a typeface that they value, that's going to be unique and different. And again, it's nothing wild, but it's intentional.
Nicole says, is there a gap between the pages in the seam?
Yeah, so Nicole, let's take a look at it. So the gap that you see, it's not a gap. It's not. There is technically it is a gutter, right? But it's just because the pages have to bend. But there's not an actual gap. Okay, so the ink is going to go from page 1 all the way across to page 2, but there is going to be simply a fold, but not a gap. All right. Love this, like how deep and dark that is, the blacks, the contrast there. Are you getting all kinds of glare? Is it working out?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, good. This spread is so cool. This couple, we did a lot of lighting and just really intentional structure in regards to like how like cinematic it was at times. This was the bride's ceremony. The Sangeet. I love going black and white. The contrast on these black and whites is just perfect. And this spread, awesome. So this, again, addresses the question about the gap. So you're able to do a full spread, right? There isn't a gap, a separation, but there is going to be simply a crease. And you'd have to have a crease, right? Because the book folds.
Yeah, but it's like Hartley there. It
Yeah.
shows a bit more in here just with the very directional lighting, but man, it looks...
Yep.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me.
So this is during the ceremony. Again, it's about storytelling, and so this is as Sri's coming in, as Caitlin comes in. Sri's mother had passed away, and they wanted to honor having her presence there, and so to have a frame of her there present with them was something that was really important. Before they actually got to see each other, they had a veil separating one another. Oh, that's awesome. She, as a sign of like pouring blessings over Sri, dumped rice on his head. And so this is the bride, Caitlin, dumping rice, and the shutter froze it in a way that it's just like this almost like this triangle of rice. And then he did the same to her here and like poured rice over her head. I just love this moment. I love her hands and her expression. The 7 steps. When they went out and they pointed at the star. Let's keep going. Something to you guys, as you photograph ceremonies, pay attention to mom and dad. Go and make an intentional process to actually get up close, get up in front of that first line of people and look back at mom and look back at dad and look at the bride looking at her parents. Like these moments right here are so, so important. I think a lot of times we're just focusing on the bride and the groom. Focus in on parents. Yeah. Even when the couple isn't necessarily close with their parents, a lot of things change as time goes on. I wanted to, this is important because look, I still made intentional structure, even though this is a sample album. I wanted to show family pictures in our album because this is what a client's going to want. And yes, for me, I just wanted to show money shots the whole way through, but I think it's really important to show what does it look like when you're just doing family portraits for your client. I love these. So this is right after the ceremony. And right after the ceremony, everything was so disheveled. They had rice in their hair, and they had, ink on them and dyes, and just like everything was, their hair was a mess. But I loved, it was just kind of perfect, just the way it was. And I wanted to document that for them. This is Getting Ready 2.0 before they changed into their separate outfits, or second outfits, I should say. Holding all the bangles in front of her. Doing this dope shot of the guys. It's awesome. I used a MagMod grid here to keep the light from my speed light focused just on Sri's face and allowed all the groomsmen just to go to silhouette. Dude, the metallic looks so good for this. Like for the light and the color. Do you know what I mean, man? Does the linen bug you at all? The texture?
I don't even notice it much.
Yeah, the linen texture does not bug me.
Yeah.
Again, you guys, when you go to do a metallic finish like this for Miller's, you have to do a linen texture. Otherwise, the pages start to stick together. And here, actually, let's point it up at me for a second. And so, I have ordered a metallic album from another company, not to be mentioned, that does not require you to do a linen texture. And so it's a completely smooth finish with metallic paper. And I can attest firsthand that the pages stick together. And each time you go to open a page, it has that peeling sound of it sticking. And so I understand why Miller's did it. It makes sense. This is kind of cool, you guys. Take a look at this. So I photographed the details here, right, during the ceremony. Let's focus on this page for a second. I photographed the details here. But then I also did an environmental portrait of the couple in the space with the details, right? It's giving almost humanity back to these very lifeless, pretty things. And so I wanted to tie that together. I wanted to show the beauty. I wanted to show how stunning their details were, but I also wanted to bring the couple within that context and combine a spread of that.
Mike says, Magmod, yeah.
Yeah.
Cody Allison's loving the metallic look.
Yeah, it just has this vibrancy to it. Dude, our clients are going to love this album. We're not going to be able to sell Deep Matte anymore. Their first dances. By the way, you guys, do you notice that, per page we're looking at, this is a two pages of 4 images on it. One image, right? It's not until we start to get to, high energy stuff that we start to adding multiple images on a spread, right? A lot of times we're doing 2 or 3 images large to focus in on the story. I love all these dance shots together. And then as a way just to wrap it up, just one big full spread all the way across. Dope. Dude, that's awesome. New favorite album. Hands down.
Sure.
But yeah, you guys. Here, I'll turn around back on me here for a second.
Kevin has a question.
Oh,
go for it.
Here we go. Coming back around. Is MPix and Miller's the same company? So, great question. I don't know the exact answer to how to answer that formally. I will say this. I don't know how their system is. It's not the. How do I put this? Well, again, to start, I don't really know how to answer that. The second thing is it's like a company, I think, that has a consumer kind of grade product and they have a professional line, right? And they've separated out those companies. So MPix is the consumer, exactly, Heather. MPix is the consumer line, right? It's not going to be the same products. It's not going to be the same offering. It's going to be a press printed offering. What I mean by that is a press printed offering is not on archival photographic paper, and it's also an entirely different printing process. Press printing is kind of like, imagine comic strips, how they do dot matrix printing, dot, 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 dot. And in the old days, you look at it and you could actually get in close and you could see those individual dots. That's press printing, okay? With a photographic printing process, it's not those dots, it's perfect. It's I don't know what the exact process is called. This is not my wheelhouse. And then again, different lines. So you couldn't get a signature album from MPix. You could get a press book, right? And it could be nice for maybe an engagement sign-in book. You know what I mean? But it's just not going to be the same. So there you go. Awesome, Kevin. You guys. There we go. That's the second video of the day. Take advantage. By the way, just to be clear, I support the companies that I believe in and that I personally use. So if you go get sample albums for yourself, I get nothing from it except for the joy of knowing that you're making albums for your clients. And so Miller's has 40% off on sample albums. Just go do it, because if you don't, you're going to wait a month or you're going to wait 6 months, and then you're going to be like, oh, I should probably get some sample albums, and then you're not going to save 40% off. So just go do it. Take a look. Yeah, make sure it happens. Heather says the quality side by side in just a picture between MPix and Miller's is vastly different. Truth. Okay, you guys, we'll see you soon. I think next up, I'm going to be taking some pictures of all of the Canon gear that I'm going to be selling, because I ain't on this Canon ship no more. Shot with a Fuji X-T2 over the weekend. I got an entire wedding set up for under 4K, and I'm going to sell all of my Canon junk, and I'm going to make more money, and I'm going to be happy. All right, that's next video. Go make albums. Go make print. Go serve your clients. Go serve your family. Go make an album. Hey, P.S. Go make a sample album. Millers might not like it that I'm saying this. Go make a sample album of your own family, right? Take advantage of this 40% off and go make a family album from a vacation or because it's your kid's 2-year birthday and you want to celebrate their life. Go make an album of your child's last year of life and go save 40% and make it through Millers, and then show that album to your clients. Look, I love showing clients my own album. I don't just show them wedding albums. I show them the album that I value. I show them that I walk the walk. That if I'm going to tell them to go buy an album, I'm going to have an album of my family, of my kids, of their first year, their second year, of our marriage, of our honeymoon, whatever it may be. Show those albums to your clients, because you know what's going to happen? You're not going to talk about the album. You're not going to talk about thick pages and linen texture and the metallic. You're going to tell stories. You're just going to tell stories. And that's what matters. All right, you guys. Cheers. We'll talk soon. Bye.